Environmental collapse, mental health pandemics, a culture-wide crisis of meaning. Must Western civilization fall, and will we, its children, fall with it? I will explore the hidden layers of our psyche in search of answers. I am in Counterculture Museum in the heart of San Francisco. You walk through this place and it's tempting to feel only nostalgia. Tie-dye, protest posters, the faint smell of patchouli in the wood. It all looks like a scene from another lifetime. But what happened in San Francisco in the late 1960s wasn't just fashion or music or mood. It was something far riskier, a messy, ambitious effort to unlearn the Western mind. Now it is preserved behind glass, photographs, journals, a cheap guitar. But back then it was a revolt that ran deeper than politics. It questioned the whole story we've been telling ourselves. That reason is the highest form of knowing, that productivity gives life its value, that who you are is what you earn or own. Underneath the long hair and flower crowns was a harder question, one still worth asking. What if the real problem isn't the system we live in, but the way we've been taught to think?
Prior to the 1958 publication of Jack Kerouac's Dharma Bums, the United States was a Judeo-Christian country. Today, people know about Zen Buddhism because of Kerouac's Dharma Bums. This is the moment in time where things shifted here in San Francisco during the Summer of Love in 1967. And I think it's because of a lot of things coming together. You had this magnificent baby boom that happened post-war America. The hippies were all the leading edge of the baby boom, 1946, 1947, 1948. And they came of age in 1967. And it was that big ripple of people just showing up and realizing the world can be a better place. And here's how we can make that happen. We can focus on spirituality. We can focus on the environment. We can focus on cultural change, consumerism. A lot of people wonder, whatever happened to the hippies? When we first opened the Beat Museum over 20 years ago, people asked us the same question. You know, whatever happened to the Beats? What happened to the hippies? And why did they go away? And I contend that their ideas, their values never went away. They became mainstream. If you think about it, ask yourself, ask your friends, do you do yoga? Do you meditate? Do you eat natural foods? Are you a vegan? You know, do you believe that other people are valuable whether they look like you or not? Do you believe in gender equality, gay and lesbian rights, racial equality? All these ideas came from not only the Beat generation, but they got passed on to the hippies. Mainstream culture takes what they can from countercultures, and therefore people oftentimes think the countercultures disappeared, but they didn't. They got assimilated into the dominant culture, and in many ways they took over. The dominant culture really doesn't want the counterculture to grow. They don't want the counterculture to literally become a new culture. But what I find is that it's youth that drives society forward, and every generation wants to do something different than their forefathers. There's always been a counterculture. The Greeks and the Romans had countercultures. You know, Whitman and Thoreau were countercultural people. The Vietnam War was behind everything. The protests and the marches and the National Guard facing down the protesters who wanted change and the government didn't. It's my belief that people are good for the most part. And it's my belief that things can change, and they can change quickly. The hippies of the 60s focused on a lot of things. They focused on how their energies could make things different as far as spirituality is concerned, about how things could change as far as climate is concerned. They were focused on making the world a better place. And I think young people intuitively search for those types of things. Kira, relax. Young people look for ways to involve themselves in things that they believe are important. They look for things that maybe their families did differently and could be done better. And it's my belief that it's the future generations that are going to save the planet, that are going to help individual people realize their potential. It's my belief that, there's somebody out there right now who's coming up with the molecule that's going to figure out how to dissolve all the bad stuff out of the oceans.
Sitting here on Hippie Hill, where the revolution happened back in 1967, you start to realize something. The hippies were rejecting time. They tried to trade Western linear thinking for Eastern circular wisdom. The Protestant work ethic for something more like cosmic play. And for a moment, just a moment, they almost did it. They almost dropped the script. But then came the tour buses, the go-karts, the magazines and the t-shirts. Capitalism, of course, did what it always does. It took the revolution, gave it a logo and sold it back to us. But here on the grass, something's still lingering. Maybe it wasn't a revolution. Maybe it was a rehearsal, a brief glimpse of another way of living which will come sometime in the future. For Spell of the Western Psyche, I'm Marcin Fabiański from San Francisco, where once a generation tried to unthink the world they'd inherited.